It was an incredible bye week, in a lot of ways. Obviously, we got to. I don't. In this profession, you don't, so to speak, bask in any victories very long because you realize that you're facing, another opponent right in the face, and in this world of college football today, every game is a life of its own, and you've got your hands full and a heartbeat if you're not careful. And so, coming off the BYU game being such a special game to our university and our program and to so many people, it was really nice having a bye week to kind of enjoy it truthfully, and so that was really nice. And then you had the week of enjoying that and resting up and hopefully getting our legs back under us and some healing for some guys that need it. We only practiced one time. We did some walkthroughs, but really tried to take it easy on them. And then, man, you fast forward to the end of the week and you find out Malik Willis is going to start his first NFL game, so that added even more excitement to it, and he's 1-0 as a starter. That's will never be that record will never be broken. He'll always hold that record, tied with a bunch of others, but he'll always hold it. And then I got to play in a little Ryder Cup match this weekend with our club out at Boonesboro, and that was a lot of fun. We won that, so that was good. And then you find out you're ranked in the top 25 for the second time in school history, our other time being in 2020. So it was a really, really good week in a lot of ways, and we also got some recruiting in. So good week, open week, and we got to have a little head start on Arkansas. The Hogs are, going to be a handful for us. They are, when you're playing an SEC roster with a Group of Five school, it's tough. It's hard, and you can't hardly make any mistakes if you want to even have a chance to be in it. And very impressed with. They needed an off week a couple weeks ago, and it benefited them greatly. They got some guys back on defense this past week against Auburn, and started looking more like themselves. I have great respect for Sam Pittman. I don't know him extremely well, but have always thought that he did a heck of a job recruiting and coaching his guys, and obviously the turnaround at Arkansas from the time he took over is pretty dang incredible. And I am good friends though with Barry Odom. We're really good friends, and thank the world to him. And he's one of the best coordinators in the game. And then the respect I have for the Browse family and their offensive mind is Kendall's doing a great job there. And just look at their stats and what they've been ranked in the SEC in both rushing and in total yards. They're very balanced, very tough to defend, scoring points on most everyone. And it's going to be a tall task, and it's exciting. I wish we were coming into this ranked 23rd in the country and feeling like I don't know who's the worst team in the 131 college football teams, but I'd like to be playing them this week and not the Hogs. But it'll be a fun trip. I've got a lot of friends in Arkansas from my time there. I've gotten a lot of text about people that'll be at the game and come by the hotel, and I'll get to visit some with them. But ultimately, it's our job to get our kids ready to try to compete in a game that we'll be excited to play. Our kids, they'll be ready. Do we have enough firepower to hang with these guys? We'll see, but it'll be fun trying.
Memories of coaching in Fayetteville against them? Anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, I've never had success in Fayetteville. Now, I'll say this, the two times I've been there, it was the worst weather I think I've ever coached in, both times, and it was awful. And my daughters to this day they think Fayetteville back then, they thought we were going to Alaska, the way our trips were in late November there when I was at Ole Miss. So I experienced success in Little Rock, but not in Fayetteville. And hopefully I hadn't looked at the weather. I'm scared to, but I hope it's not like it was the last two times I was there.
It's supposed to rain.
Well, as long as it's not freezing rain like it was the two times I was there, it was, freezing rain.
You glossed over last week the contract extension that you received. And
Oh, gosh, how did I forget that? All right, I'm sorry. I'm just so, I guess, I don't know what day that came out, but I assumed we'd already talked about it. I don't know, because the social media world's already covered it, and, usually that, man, Ian has been incredible to me here, along with Dr. Prevo and the Board of Trustees, and, every single year I've been here, I've never had to go to him to ask for anything. He always comes to me, and it's quite humbling, truthfully, and you feel kind of guilty that you are the beneficiary of so many people's work that you couldn't really do without, and from the players to the staff to everybody. So that's kind of humbling, because they don't get to benefit quite to the same magnitude that my family and I do. But so it's quite humbling, and thankful again for this opportunity and for their vision for the future.
I wanted to expound on that because I was told, like, with this extension, your staff and the resources committed to this program are now going to be at the top of the G5 ranks. And you've said all along you envision this program being a top G5 program. With the university now solidifying its commitment to that, is there no reason this program can't be a top G5 team with the fact that you, your staff, and the resources being committed to it reflect that?
Well, I've made no bones about it since I came here. I thought our goal should be one of the top G5 programs in the country. And, we're 3-0 in bowl games. We've been in the top 25 our share of times, had a 10-win season, and headed to our fourth straight bowl, and, are sitting in the top 25 now. I mean, I guess it would be arguably, you could say that we're close to being there, and certainly with the resources that the administration is willing to provide, to our staff and our players and our facilities and everything. I'm not going to backtrack on that. I think that's a reasonable goal.
Got a couple online from Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Go ahead, Bob.
Thanks. Hey, Hugh, good to see you.
Bob, always good, man. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Hey, you guys are ranked, coming off a big one over BYU. You mentioned all the other good things happening. Just how much momentum are you guys coming in here with, and just how good do you think everybody's feeling about what's going on right now?
Well, everybody on the mountain is feeling great. I mean, I hadn't gone anywhere this past week, but everybody's just so excited about what they're witnessing in this football program in such a short period of time of us transitioning into FBS. But so we are also, Bob, coming off our most well-played football game. Truthfully, we haven't been very consistent all year. Particularly offensively. Defensively we have, and obviously some of it has to do with our injuries to our QB1 and QB2, but last week I thought we played a really, really solid football game on all three phases. So we're going to need that to build some confidence in us to go and be able to compete with the likes of Arkansas, but I do think that we certainly have a lot of momentum right now.
And then how well is it that you know Barry so well, and I'll get off and let some others ask. Thanks.
So he was really good friends with Matt Luke, who was my O-line coach at Ole Miss, and a dear friend. And then he was the DC at Memphis, and we played him both years. And I said, man, I like this guy. I like the way his kids play. And Matt introduced him to me after one of the games, and we just started developing a relationship there. And then he went, obviously, to Missouri, and I think it's fair to say he would bounce things off of me from time to time. And just always, I like what he thinks about coaching. I like his philosophy, his core values, and just think a lot of him.
Go back in the room now, Eric.
Hey, Coach, in your experience of having our ranked program, how have you been able to use that as a motivating force for the team as opposed to sort of a complacency crutch, as I would consider?
Yeah, I don't. I really don't use the rankings too much in the season. I get it. I've lived this life. At Ole Miss we were ranked a lot. Here, not so much. But when you do, it's pretty special. And so you celebrate that, but you also better be real and know that, man, Arkansas is going to be favored this week, and they should be. They've got better players and probably better coaches. And so they're just, you can easily get knocked out of the top 25. The one that's quite gratifying is, man, if you can finish the course of the 12-game season and put yourself in a position to be in it, then that's one that you, like from 2020, that I have a framed picture of, because it's pretty special. Yes, we celebrated it in our truth meeting last night. It's a little different week, so we went on and did our truth meeting last night so we could get an extra practice in today. But, it's pretty special, but it could be very fleeting also at this moment.
Go back online, Tom Murphy, I think also from the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's it. Thanks. Hey, Hugh.
Hey, Tom, you too, man.
Hey, the cross scouting on the BYU game. You got to see Arkansas's defense a little 2 weeks ago too. So, how can that play into this thing that you guys both handle BYU? Well,
I wish that Barry was a little more like he was at Memphis, and he was in one front. Now he's in all kind of fronts, and I'm not sure exactly how he's going to play us. He's played some teams a bit differently, and so we've got to prepare for all of them. But no question, getting to watch some of that stuff for an extra week, I feel like, I don't know that we can block them or have the right calls or anything, but I do feel like I have a understanding of what he's trying to do when he's getting in his odd fronts or his load fronts or his even fronts. But there's a lot of moving parts with it, and we'll have to get in the game and figure out how he's going to play us. But, I mean, it certainly didn't hurt that we got to watch that much of them.
Yeah, you mentioned QB1, QB2, but there's QB3 and QB4. What's the situation looking like for you guys? This Brewer's back, right? So
He had a good practice today, and Caden ran today. Don't know if he'll be ready or not. I would expect Brewer to do like he did in BYU and try to go, but I think the off week really helped him. He threw it a lot better today than he did 2 weeks ago when he was trying to practice. So I would anticipate right now both JB and Brewer being ready. Not sure about Caden.
But Bennett has been so good. I mean, are you reluctant to go off in another direction?
It's well, he's been very inconsistent, and then he just won the biggest game in school history and looked really good doing it. So I've got these two things battling in my mind of, man, if you've watched all of our games up until BYU, you would say, man, they're really inconsistent. And then you watch the BYU game, you're like, dang, he's really accurate and good. So, I'm glad we have him. And both will probably see time. I would anticipate JB getting the start. But again, it's just Monday, and I would anticipate that and kind of see how it goes. But Charlie looked pretty good today too.
Okay. My last question: when you look at the components of the Arkansas offense, very veteran O-line, stopping KJ has been difficult for some folks, and then Rocket Sanders is having a big year. Just maybe what you think of putting all those components together. Yeah,
I mean, you look at them; they're second in the SEC in yards per game, I believe, sixth in the country in rushing, 13th in the country in yards per game, and obviously averaging around 35 a game. KJ, I know him well from Sardis, Mississippi, and he's just, he's as much involved in the run game as he is the pass game, which is a challenge. And then number 5, that running back, he's an SEC dude. I think he's at the top of the SEC in rushing, and tight end 7 is a good player, and those wide receivers and then you get to the O-line, it's the best we faced probably in the 4 years I've been here, I would say. They're very seasoned, very physical. So we're going to be a tall challenge.
Thanks, Hugh. I appreciate you reminding us about that bad weather back those few years
Oh,
ago.
my God. That was awful.
Thanks.
Go back in the room here to John, and then we'll get to Scotty online after that.
Coach, you've obviously played a lot of games in the SEC, all the different
How much do you think that game last year at Ole Miss kind of helps your team kind of understand what the type of environment they're going to see on Saturday?
Yeah, I try to explain to them what I think of the given stadiums that we're going into. So I don't like our kids ever being surprised or shocked. And I told them that I knew what the Ole Miss atmosphere would be like for an 11 o'clock kick. And they're not playing an SEC school, so I knew what it would be like. I have a good feel what I think the Arkansas will be like also, and we'll have to handle it. And I showed them how you do Woo Pig Suey and Arkansas Razorback. You got to get into it. I mean, you're going to hear it a lot, so you got to get into it and know what you're talking about. So I want to be familiar with the whole deal and enjoy the atmosphere. And we played Ole Miss really, really good and had a chance to make it a one-score game there without a penalty and a drop. And but this is a different task and. But I don't think our kids will. The stadium and atmosphere should be one that we look at to enjoy, not be intimidated by. And I think we'll look at it that way.
You mentioned your quarterback situation, the health of some of those guys. What about the rest of your team, especially receiver Yarborough, Daniels, if you're playing with him, Sneed, Trayshawn?
Yeah, Trayshawn's back. He practiced today. Receiver, we're still thin. Don't know exactly how everybody will come along this week getting ready. So we'll have to we'll piece it together like we have. We've really been beat up at that spot this year. So hope Caleb can go. Hope Yarborough can go. That would really help us add some quality depth to that spot.
Go back online. We'll take one from Stingray actually, and then we'll take one from Bob.
Coach.
Hey, Stingray.
Hey, man, how are you this morning?
I'm blessed, man. Doing really well.
Where would you say that your team has made the biggest improvement from week number 1 versus going into Arkansas this weekend?
Well, just based off the last game, I would say the offensive consistency was so much improved last week compared to what we had witnessed. And so I hope that is a sign that we're taking a step in the right direction and we can expect some of that moving forward. So hopefully that's it.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Bob?
Hugh, I saw where, I hope I'm saying his name right, Day Hunter had a monster game against BYU. What would you say about him? Is he an SEC caliber? Not to not G5, but is he an SEC caliber running back?
He could have played for me in my days at Ole Miss. We didn't have the maybe the greatest running backs in the conference at that time. He would have played for me there. Day's, he's got some stiffness that probably would keep. That's why he did not sign with Power Fives. But boy, he's physically really, really strong. And has enough burst. He's not a blazer, but enough burst to make explosive runs. So I think it would just depend on what the makeup of your roster is. But in my days there, there were some weeks we would have loved to have had him. So I think he's right on the borderline, probably. If you're in an offense that's like the one I ran at Ole Miss, I think he can play. If you're in one that's a little more power oriented. He may not be quite big enough.
And then with your SEC background, do you get a little extra fired up for these SEC games?
Sure. I think you know that more eyes are on you. That more eyes are on your team, and I don't think any coach that's worth his salt wants to put an embarrassing product on the field at any time. Much less when a lot of the eyes are on you. So, and you want it for your program and your kids to have a chance to compete and somehow get into the second half and kind of be in a ball game of this in this arena. And so yeah, it fires you up some. It's still when we kick it off, I think I'll just be like normal, but certainly it'll be exciting.
You remember last time you talked to Barry and you guys?
I text with him this morning.
Really?
Yeah. I said, quit laughing at my team on film. And he said, I'm not laughing at all. And and then we both just said, "Hope I get to see you for a few minutes before the game."
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Yep.
Anybody else in the room have anything?
Yeah, he was gonna ask you about their defensive end. I think they're 16th in the nation in sacks per game. Bumper Pool's a really good linebacker for them.
Yep.
What about their defense is something that's gonna, I guess, cause you to be up at night game plan for this one?
Well, they're bigger, faster, and stronger, and Barry's got them playing a lot of multiple looks. The Pool kid, I think, is maybe the program's leading tackler of all time, and second in the SEC, I think, right now. And sacks, they're up there, and 50's a man up front. Very consistent player for him. Sanders, the transfer from Alabama, is a really good player too. And they just got healthy, in their secondary are more healthy. And so you got, Barry calling it with really good players. And they also have, Dominique Bowman, who was one of my players that I coached. And, and I think I'm somewhat of a mentor to him. And so I got to change probably some verbiage too, because he played for me, and we've talked ball a lot. So it's one of those type games.